Yeah, we got started a little late there. Sorry. Misao Chiba, David Robinson, Baton Rouge, Christopher Gillingham over in Leamington, Stingrays up in Seattle, Kate Walker. Hello from Emsworth. Kate, we haven't seen you on in a while. Welcome. Gordon Smith. Good evening from a very rainy Denmark, Gordon Smith says. Roberto Florian is watching. We are in the harbor room of the Balboa Yacht Club. Sorry for a couple minute late start there as we were getting everything connected and going. I see here you can see Denise Peterson, who's a live studio audience with us, as we're about to get this show, number 441, on the road. Matthias Collins, Jean-Jacques Grandchamp. Here we go.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Balboa Yacht Club for this, the show number 441, Tuesday the 27th of July. The month's almost over. And as I said a moment ago, we are in the harbor room. I have a live studio audience of Fozy. She's been on the show before. Denise Peterson, delighted to have her here. Of course, we're at the Governor's Cup, hosted by Balboa Yacht Club, the prestigious International Youth Match Racing Championship. This is the 54th edition since the 60s, and we got underway last night with a bit of a, it's the Meet the Teams roast that Andy Rose hosts. Andy Rose roasts. I don't think so. And it was see that, Julia? Denise is taking your finger pointing here in the harbor room at Balboa Yacht Club. Thank you all for joining us. I can't swing the cameras around because we're right here looking out on the harbor in Newport Beach, California. Fantastic, beautiful afternoon. It's cleared up. The kids are out racing. And Denise, there you say they're in the second flight now? And your son Jeffrey is in, he won his first flight, as did David Wood. So the two local favorites here at Balboa Yacht Club are both in winning ways as we would expect. They're sailing a double round robin today, tomorrow, and Thursday, and then they get into a semifinals and finals, which we will air live on Friday and Saturday over on the Gov Cup, the BYC Gov Cup Facebook page. And we hope you can join us for that. Let's continue on with this show here. A little bit different setup because we are in this room and some of my equipment, some local equipment, so bear with us as we get through this. High course. I'm your host, Tom Ehman. Thanks again for joining us. TFE Live Sailing Illustrated starting line segment is how we normally start the show out. And I just want to say this is the television schedule. We did our first of 9 shows last night to Meet the Teams, and we will continue tomorrow at 0900 and every morning, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, for a pre-race morning show. It's the competitors briefing with the race officers and the umpires and the bosuns, and then we do some interviewing of officials and sailors Wednesday through Saturday mornings, 0900 Pacific, and then we will be covering racing live Friday and Saturday at 11:30 a.m. out on the Pacific Ocean, out on the Good Yacht Adios with our producer, director Chris Bretschker. Andy Rose and I will be co-commentators, and then we will also do the press conferences both Friday night and Saturday night. And the Saturday night's also the prize giving after the press conference. We hope you can join us for all of that. If Julie were here, she would now say, please like, follow, and share. There's Denise giving the thumbs up over there for the like, follow, and share. And also, you can hear the jets going over, can't you, from SNA. This is the departure path right out from John Wayne Airport, so bear with us. I guess why I'm wearing Julia's headset for this show. But like, follow, and share. Comments welcome too, even in replay. Many of you do watch us in replay. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated if you're so inclined. Give us a few bucks a month. That helps keep us on the air. We appreciate that support very much. Let's start with a Bravo Zulu. And I think this is a cool Bravo Zulu. And we're going to just have a bit of a recap here of the Transpac race. And they were, of course, to absolutely nobody's surprise, Pye Wackett, Roy Pat Disney, and team. They were the first to finish. They, of course, won the barn door, which is emblematic of the first to finish monohull. Actually, I think first to finish now any yacht. And they set a new 24-hour record. This on their modified Vault VO65, which is now a 70-footer, and Stan Honey navigating, and they just did a brilliant job. Bravo Zulu to Pyewacket and Roy Pat Disney and crew. The race is pretty well over. Here was some nice video, some nice television coverage out in Honolulu.
Well, the Waikiki Yacht Club, a local sailing crew, celebrated a divisional win in the Trans-Pacific 2021 race. The Ho'okalohe, owned by Cecil Rossi, sailed from LA to Honolulu in 9 days, 2 hours, 29 minutes. Rossi says the crew had a whole lot of fun along the way.
Opening the hatch to get air in it, and some guy driving in the back of the boat decides to stuff the bow in the water. But it was all in good, it wasn't nothing. It just comes with the territory.
Okay, for Buzz Foster, the sailmaker on board, the race was a family affair.
This is the first race I had both my sons on board. Yeah, I made a promise. This is a bucket list check item for me, and this man made it possible for me to do that, and I thank him forever for that.
The Ho'okalohe crossed the finish line at the Diamond Head Buoy at about 9 o'clock this morning. The sailing vessel won first place in the 8th division of the 51st Transpac race, and also projected to win the coveted Kalakaua Cup for the entire competition.
So bravo Zulu to them, and they started those boats, the 8th division, the slower boats, on this year on Tuesday. They used to start on Wednesday and the fast boats on Friday and Saturday, but they moved them back to Tuesday, and it looked for a while like Ho'okalohe, I think, Denise, did I pronounce that right? Ho'okalohe was going to be first to finish and get the barn door. So didn't quite happen. They got passed by Pyewacket right at the end. But look at these beautiful photos by our good friend. In fact, she has the photos at the head of this show, and we always want to recognize her contributions. Sharon Green, right, exactly, thank you. And this was we told you this on Friday, this looked like the top 4 finishing, and that is indeed how it worked out. Pyewacket, Ho'okalohe, Lucky, and Artemis. And in fact, Lucky did not finish. Lucky got dismasted. They were unlucky and got dismasted or had some kind of a problem. Had to be towed back in by the Coast Guard, towed into Honolulu. So Lucky was a bit unlucky there. Finally, Denise, you'll know these folks. Your kids have sailed together, and that is Rock and Roll, our Fozy and good friend John Sangmeister and his sons Peter and Jack, who sailed, I think it was their first. First, right? You think it was their first Transpac as well. I don't have a mic on Denise, but she's whispering in my ear here to help me out. She's my Julia today, not that she could ever replace Julia. Julia's up watching up in San Francisco at the Beach Street Yacht Club, and Denise, you can wave to her again, and we all wave to her. But in the meantime, Denise, we have a live studio audience here. Thank you for that. As the Jets continue to go over here at Balboa Yacht Club, we got an America's Cup, another New York Yacht Club bombshell. We should probably get right to that because we told you on Friday about the press release that we got just before we went to air on the America's Cup, AC 37 Cup date by way of, and about New York Yacht Club saying that they were joining forces, Stars and Stripes, their team from this AC 36, joining forces with the esteemed match racer Taylor Canfield and Mike Buckley. This is a beautiful photo by Andy Green. I've spoken with Andy after he saw this on the show the other day. Full moon over Harbor Court the other night. I think this was Thursday night. Fabulous photo of that impressive and wonderful New York Yacht Club clubhouse out in Newport, Rhode Island, the old Brown Mansion, a.k.a. Harbor Court, which the club bought in 1988. But the news came from New York, from their Midtown Manhattan clubhouse at 44th Street, as they call it. The 44th Street clubhouse is a beautiful photo by Dan Nerney. And that press release we told you about on Friday, that the yacht club had taken an initial but significant, this is their release, Stuart Struley, a significant step toward establishing a sustainable franchise that can both win the 37th Cup, now notwithstanding they're not even entered yet, and there's been no roadmap for how to enter, and provide, speaking of roadmaps, a roadmap for the club's future involvement and for how international sports' oldest competition should evolve. Well, that release went on for a few more pages, and of course, it was the announcement of the bringing together of the best American sailing talent. So the club said the Stars and Stripes team, founded by members Mike Buckley and Taylor Canfield, that had challenged this last time for Long Beach Yacht Club. So they've merged, and everybody thought, okay. In fact, I said on the show on Friday that this would be a subsumation, that New York was going to take the talent off the field, put Stars and Stripes alongside Terry Hutchinson and American Magic, and away they would go. Well, that is not the plan, we can tell you today, because I won't go through the rest of this release. I maybe read the concluding paragraph. As the New York Yacht Club is neither the defender nor challenger of record for the event, it must await the protocol and details on the timing, yada, yada, yada. And that's they're waiting for the Kiwis, the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, and their representative team, Emirates Team New Zealand, and the challenger of record Royal Yacht Squadron, whose team is Ineos Team UK. They've promised a protocol by the 17th of September, and the venue announcement by then, and so on, and then some more details by November. So we're all awaiting that, and is in New York, so they're on the outside looking in, as is Prada. But then came, after this release by Stuart Struley, then came this announcement, second bombshell, in an email that Terry Hutchinson, the executive director of the American Magic team, he sent out to his team stakeholders, supporters, and team members on Sunday night. I started hearing about it here, and I was on the couch over at Andy Rose's where I'm staying, and I start getting calls from people. Hey, have you seen T. Hutch's email? I said, no, I haven't, but read it to me. So they did. And the next morning, Terry called me and said, yes, it's true. I texted back and forth, and I'll share it with you now. Terry said I could. In fact, is happy that it's now public. He's not happy about the situation, but he said, greetings to his stakeholders and team members. I trust this note is finding everybody well. As of this writing, not a lot has changed regarding our discussions with the defender. They still anticipate announcing a venue on or around September 17th, blah, blah, blah. On another note, nice casual relax that Terry is. On another note, since early June, American Magic has been navigating its way through an AC-37 partnership agreement discussion with the New York Yacht Club. It has proven to be more difficult than expected. Instead of finalizing an agreement with American Magic, New York Yacht Club's Commodore and Board of Trustees has decided to announce a joining, quote unquote, of Stars and Stripes and the New York Yacht Club. This is an agreement separate from the American Magic team agreement and mandates the participation of S&S with the club's future efforts. This action from the club is disappointing and hard for us to understand. However, I want to make sure that I communicate a few key things to all of you about this. One, no action by New York Yacht Club impacts American Magic's ability to launch a campaign for AC-37, meaning separate from New York Yacht Club. Hap and Doug, Hap Fouth, who is the CEO and one of the major contributors, and Doug DeVos of Amway, another major contributor, one of the three principals, along with Roger Penske of auto racing and business fame. Hap and Doug remain committed to the schedule that we have set for evaluating the decisions to move forward. There's a little bit of corporate speak there. And no mention, as you would have seen there, of Roger Penske, whom one hears is not going to go forward with an American Magic effort, if that name is even used again. American Magic, point 3, American Magic owns all of the assets in the shed in New Zealand, and these assets remain a strength of our team. I also understand that American Magic, Terry T. Hutch and Co. own the IP, they own the designs, they own the name. Again, not that American Magic will ever get used again after the turmoil, after the disaster in New Zealand. But as we get our last couple paragraphs, as we get ourselves organized for AC-37, it is important that whatever club American Magic represents shares the values and vision of our team principles. If the values are not aligned and if winning the cup is not the priority, then it won't work. As always, please call or email with any questions. I am always happy to update you over the phone. I really appreciate everyone's patience during this run-up period to AC 37. So that was Terry's email again on Sunday night, and which he sent to me then Monday morning. And he is going to come on the show, I'm pleased to report. He will come on the show a week from this Friday. Reminder that we will not have a show this Friday because I'll be on the water doing commentary with Andy Rose here at the Gov Cup. There's this cable here going through my arm. And we will not have a Friday show, but T. Hutch will join us a week Friday on TFE Live for a fuller explanation of what is going on as the Cup turns. Now, you probably saw, those of you who get Magnus Wheatley's terrific Rule 69 blog. It's free. Just go to rule69blog.com, I think it is, or Google it, but get to Magnus, as we call him, Magnus Wheatley's blog. This came out just before we went to air, and I'm going to read a good bit of it, not all of it, because it's right on, as usual, from Magnus Wheatley. Fast-moving America's Cup story today following the announcement from New York Yacht Club that they were partnering with the Stars and Stripes gang. It was naturally assumed that it was a case of merging with American Magic, but oh no, not by a long shot. This is the New York Yacht Club aligning with and adopting the Stars and Stripes syndicate and ditching Terry Hutchinson, Hap Fouth, and Roger Penske completely. And see, he doesn't mention Doug DeVos because it's not clear where Doug DeVos is headed in all of this, so one hears as well. I've also talked with Magnus before he wrote this. It's sensational news, he says in that second paragraph, and Terry Hutchinson is hitting the airwaves to explain that the assets of American Magic, still locked away in a shed in New Zealand, are very much their intellectual property, and that the hunt is on for an American yacht club that shares their vision for the next AC. That's the email we've just read you. And then he quotes from it. I go down his post a little bit, and he says, Magnus Wheatley, astonishing, really. I knew that the New York Yacht Club could play rough, but never in my wildest dreams did I think they'd do this to Terry Hutchinson, a member no less, and with a backup plan that looks shaky at best, or so it would seem. There simply has to be someone with very large pockets standing like Lago in Shakespeare's Othello, ready to exact revenge and throw down a mighty American gauntlet to win back the cup. In America, there's no shortage of those characters, and with the stock market booming post-COVID, well, at least it was, more billionaires have been created than at any other time in history and at a faster rate. The cup is, I will forever contest, chump change in sporting terms, and New York Yacht Club has the best brand in the, quote, great game, unquote, and wants it back, and to hell with the collateral damage. Strong words from Magnus Wheatley, but probably true. I mean, on all appearances. For Terry, Hap, and Roger, it's a kick in the solar plexus. He's putting it politely, as he normally does, but they too are carrying aces in their pack. Patriot was a weapon right up to the moment of that crash. And remember just how far ahead they were of the Italians when the capsize happened. That IP was born out of hard yards of training, and it's not something that money buys. The design team were A1, the mechatronic guys were best in class, the sailors and shore team were bang on the money, the sails were looking innovative, and all was set fair for a very decent run. Hell, they even beat Team New Zealand at one point. This had everything except a shiny cup and ticker tape parade down Fifth Avenue. Well, Magnus, I'm going to go on because it's good stuff. Terry Hutchinson is bankable in the Cup. Of that, there's no doubt. The model CEO with a sailmaker pedigree and the best big boat CV on tap. Yes, T. Hutch certainly has that and more. What a talent to let go, begs the question. What on earth are New York Yacht Club up to? Time will tell, and we'll expect a very big announcement any day now, but as far as for a new dawn in U.S. collaboration, which of course is what I thought on Friday as well, my initial observations were wrong. These two syndicates are going toe-to-toe for the sponsorship dollars, and my bet is that U.S. sailing at the apex of the sport is set back a generation, Magnus Wheatley says. Set back a generation, scrabbling in the dark, and that its time in the cup sunshine is a long, long way off. That is the U.S.'s. Or have they nabbed a whale? Bezos has done space, remember, but that's just wishful speculation. Elon Musk, perhaps. It's a brutal game at the elite level. As Mark Twain said, it ain't over. It ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that it just ain't so. So some more things we know. I'm not going to go into what I do know, having talked to senior serious New York Yacht Club members, and we'll leave that for a week Friday when Terry comes on the show. But as you all on here, most of the FOSI will know, I had the same title in their 86-87 campaign. That is New York's executive director, same title as Terry. And so I have some feeling for how tough it can be sailing with and for the vaunted, the esteemed New York Yacht Club. And it's still, if not the finest yacht club, among the very finest yacht clubs. They got a bunch of smart, affluent, well-connected people, including in their Commodore, and one here's their rear Commodore, who has been involved in the professional sports world for a long time. That's Jay Cross, who is originally a Canadian 470 sailor. He and I sailed 470s back before the 470 had been picked as the Olympic class. So he was down between the 470 and the Fireball. Jay Cross is a very bright, tough guy. As I said, a lot of experience in sports marketing, and management, real estate, and I think you can count on Jay Cross playing a major role going forward in the New York effort, but it'll be fun to hear about Terry's effort when he comes on the show a week from this Friday. So that's Magnus Wheatley writing on his Rule 69 blog. I commend it to you. It's free. Sign up. It comes in your email inbox, once or twice, sometimes once, twice a day. And I'll end on this somewhat appropriate photo, which you all recall that after they had the accident and the crash and the hole in the side of the boat, that was helped repaired by all of the other teams down there. A very classy move by New York Yacht Club, T. Hutch, and American Magic to put these Band-Aids over the area of the hull that had been repaired, and saying thank you. But now it's maybe more of a, I won't say flipping them off, but thank you to everybody, including the New York Yacht Club, as American Magic and New York Yacht Club appear to be parting ways. Now I'm going to stop there and put in Jody. Oh my God, that's loud. And see if that's, maybe it's appropriately loud. I ask all of you, a lot of people on here, is this move by New York Yacht Club to jettison American Magic, Terry Hutchinson and co. in favor of Taylor Canfield, Mike Buckley, and who knows who else? I still hear Jay-Z and his production company. Are you a rapper? Are you? Hip-hop and rap. How's that going to look in the model room at the New York Yacht Club? But we'll see if those two cultures are coming together. But I think Jay Cross, as I said, the rear Commodore, I think you can count on Jay Cross coming up with some big-time corporate money in the New York market and beyond, if that's really what's happening at New York Yacht Club. But is this move correct or croutonic? And let's go to the comments. I'm going to go, I'm going to start at the bottom and work back up, because that's really woefully croutonic, Jonathan Frank says. Wow, woefully croutonic. Don't believe everything you hear, John Spangos. Oh, that's interesting, John. Wonder what that means. Put some more comments in, John. Give us a hint. If you think you know something, maybe you do. Peter Wharton is watching. Hi, Peter. Bill Wingrove, I don't understand ditching T. Hutch. That part is croutonic. By the way, some yacht clubs are fizzing, including and especially Pensacola Yacht Club. One here, St. Francis Yacht Club, is, oh, you look at here, we could have a syndicate that could be up and running. Annapolis Yacht Club, from whence Terry comes, is also said to be in the interest game. We'll see. Bob Simpkins, hi. Jeff Ogle, it's dumb, so it's croutonic. Warren Schasser is watching. Warren down in Adelaide. Warren, normally. Tom's cap is set at a slightly jaunty angle, is it not? So I think it's the headset. So it was the scramble to get us on the air with all the other equipment. Sorry about the coming on 5 or 6 minutes late. And, jaunty. I like that. You can see it's okay because that's the boat of Balboa Yacht Club on which I sail sometimes. Orlando Montalvan. Hello, Orlando. One hears that Terry has downloaded and printed his Scuttlebutt Sailing Club membership card. Gareth Evans is saying, yeah, maybe. Alex Hayward. A lot of, in fact, a lot of new names on here today. Great to see you all. Gordon Smith. Now that is interesting. Mark Chisnell posted the job ads on LinkedIn, but I didn't read the details. You know, it was almost like when I started getting these calls on Sunday night, hey, have you heard what's happening? I had not heard. Now, to be fair, one of our FOSI, who I'm not sure I'll name, in Annapolis, told me a month ago, he said, I hear, one hears, that there had been a deal inked between Taylor and Mike Buckley, Taylor Canfield, Mike Buckley, and the New York Yacht Club. And I went back and looked at the text because I said, can't be. And of course, it now appears not only can it be, it has happened. And not just a subsummation, not just the merger, as we said. Hello to everybody else. Hi, Ted Ryman. Sorry, I hope your COVID is clearing up down there in Cape Town and the other problems that you're having in South Africa. That's right, Gordon Smith. Interesting that the jobs will be based at the Mercedes F1. Yeah, okay. I don't see many people thinking this is a good idea. You're all talking about yacht clubs and who will challenge. And where NASCAR teams are getting settled. Hello, Chris Otterowski, Commodore Otterowski. Speaking of New York Yacht Club members, you past Commodore of Seattle Yacht Club, an esteemed gentleman, sailor, and racer, and a longtime friend. I'm not sure I've ever had Chris. Maybe Chris has been on one of the, I think when we did watch parties for the America's Cup, Chris was down on, with Sean, with his wife, the Commodorable, the former admiral of Seattle Yacht Club, Sean is. And they were on the show from one of their yachts down in the Caribbean, and it was good to see you then, Commodore Otterowski. Mark Wharton Reed, who's a Michigan boy, says hi from the Bayview Yacht Club party at the Hotel Grand. Those of you who've been up to Mackinac Island, Denise, you ever been to Mackinac Island? Oh, you got to go. It's beautiful, especially this time of year. And the Grand Hotel with its longest porch in the world, they say. And you can sit there and have a nice tea and whatever else, tequila and soda. If Julie and I were there, it was amazing, Denise, how many people were drinking tequila sodas. Commodore Tom, our Andy's partner in the boat, and it's Purcell. Thank you, Tom Purcell. Yesterday was a long day, and then it was a long night after. We went back to Andy's and relaxed and watched the show over. If you didn't see last night's opening show here, the so-called Meet the Teams, and it's a roast, it's a dinner, and the teams were wonderful. Andy was clever as usual, and the crowd was light and live. It was just a fantastic evening. You can go watch that on the BYC Governor's Cup Facebook page. It's facebook.com/BYCGovCup, GOVCUP, and all the stuff we're televising we put up. But it was a long day yesterday getting that done. I produced and directed that. Ben Remacher. Hello, Ben, up in Vancouver. Lovely summer day. Great Olympic racing broadcasts ongoing. Let's gossip about what's not happening in the AC. I think that's a good suggestion. Let's press on here. And I think most of you think this is a strange, if not croutonic, move, so we'll move on from that segment on Ben's suggestion and get to our next segment, which, guess what, is the Olympics. And there are some, I've heard mixed reports about the video television NBC coverage here in the U.S. It's taped. They're not doing much stuff, if any, live that I've heard about. Have you seen anything live, Denise? No, we haven't. And I know sitting over at Andy Rose's place the last couple nights, the first night, the big thing was the skateboarding. And we watched the skateboarding, and these kids, in fact, there was a 13-year-old medalist in skateboarding. But the skateboarders, you expect kind of near precision. You expect some real, like you see in advanced athletes in other sports. Well, they're falling off the skateboards, and even the top people all the time. Or so it looked like to us. And we watched and said, man, what kind of a sport is this if there's that much falling off and getting back on and restarting, even among the top people? Now, maybe we don't have that quite right. So skateboarding was the big deal, and last night we were watching and enjoying some of the other stuff, but not any sailing that I have seen. However, some videos have been produced, and good videos for the most part, one Crutonic, but some good videos being produced by World Sailing, who can't show video of the sailing in their videos, but they can show images. Witness this video. Roll tape. Okay, it is 05:30 or so, I think, in Tokyo, if I remember well here. Let me see my little clock. And they are 8 hours behind us here on the West Coast, but tomorrow. So it's Wednesday morning there. And that video, which you've just seen, which kind of, there's only been 3 races in most of the class. In fact, some of the classes have raced, but only 3 races so far. So it's, it's early days. And there's some classes have 2 throwouts. I can't keep track of it all. But we're not going to get too much into the standings. The good news is that the typhoon has passed kind of north of Tokyo, and so it's not affected the surfing or the yacht racing. But we have a report that's really an interview that I did very early this morning, late his Tuesday night, early my Tuesday morning, with our regular Olympic reporter normally, except he can't do reports, so he's doing, I have to interview him, John Emmett. So let's listen to John.
I think probably the first thing to say is just how happy a lot of the Japanese people are to see us. We must say hello and goodbye and thank you 100 times a day. And I get the fact that it's impossible to please everybody all the time, and there will be some who are not so happy about having the Olympics Games hosted, but all the people we see day to day are just, they couldn't be more welcoming. I mean, it's just been absolutely fantastic. Difficult even at this stage to answer the question about the runners and the riders and who's performing well. The lasers are actually at the halfway stage. The Ilka 7 is currently led by the Cypriot. That's Pavos, followed by Matt Wern from Australia, third place Robert Scheidt from Brazil. So that's the names you'd probably expect to see at the front of the fleet, and very much the same in the Ilka 6, currently led by the Danish sailor Anne-Marie Rindom, second Sweden, Josephine Olsen, and third Mariette Baumeister from the Netherlands. So yeah, if you look at the top 10 of both the Ilka 6 and 7, there's quite a strong Nordic country present there. That's 6 races, and people are starting to pull away from the chasing pack. But I think the thing is, it's the worst score you have to count in the series, not how many good scores you get. The windsurfers have also done 6 races. They come off a rest day today. The leader in the men's is Italy, Matteo Carboni, and Switzerland. Matteo is second. Third place is probably the favourite, Kieran Bello from the Netherlands, but he did lose a race due to a disqualification. But I said they've only had 2 days racing, so lots to play for there. And the women's competition is led by Charlie Picon from France. Second is Lou from China, who had an amazing day yesterday. Worst worst score was second in all three races. Third place. Oh, sorry, I got that wrong. Second place is Emma Wilson from the UK. Third place, Lou from China. But it's very, very tight at the top. I was going to talk about the 49er and the FX and the Finn. You asked the question about how they're getting on, but I thought perhaps, you know, after one day of racing, it's just too hard to say. And with the 49er especially, they only did one race. So, I mean, everybody wants a good first race, but it certainly doesn't dictate the overall results of the championship. So I think it's a bit early to say too much, especially because they were on a Noshima race course, which was particularly tricky with the wind being off the land to start with, and then huge changes. But the Finn class was quite interesting because Elysium Kaynar from Turkey had 1-1, so a perfect start to regatta, and Zombie Perez had 2-2, and the Spanish youngster Joan Cadona had 3-3. So when you look at that, you think maybe there's a bit of boat speed difference going on, that those three were so consistent on day one. But I think, you know, there's just a lot of racing to come, and perhaps it'd be easier to answer questions later in the week, but the conditions are so varied, and I think that's a good thing because it means you have a really worthy champion. You know, sailing is a consistency sport. It's who can perform in light winds, strong winds, flat water, shifty winds, ocean swell. That's how you get the worthy Olympic champions. So I think, yeah, having a mixed bag of conditions makes it far more watchable, and it makes it far harder to call who's going to perform. Another fantastic day tomorrow, I expect, with even more wind. And then probably we're going to be back to sea breeze scenario, I guess. But it's probably been the hardest competition I've ever seen for calling the Met, and there's people who know far better than me. So, yeah, looking forward to lots more racing and halfway stage for the classes who started first.
Okay, that was our regular reporter, an interview that I did with him early this morning, my time. And obviously, he's tired. He's late at night. He's been out on the water all day coaching. And the great John Emmett, we really appreciate his updates from the Sailors Village. It's the hotel. Nice. You're all commenting. Why are you commenting on his bed sheets, for God's sakes? They look normal, don't they, Denise? Huh? They're commenting about his bed sheets and his audio. Sorry, I had the audio on John perhaps a little low. I brought it up, and I think my audio is okay. Tell me in the comments. Again, when I'm out of my own studio and doing it here at Balboa Yacht Club, it's a little bit different. As you know, we're in the harbor room, they call this, the harbor room. Beautiful new room. It's only built during the COVID, or maybe just before the pandemic, here at the Balboa Yacht Club. Thanks, John Emmett, for that. Now, this is the Crutonic world. Well, I'm not going to, don't let me characterize it. You tell me what you think of this. Since they can't play video from the television coverage, they're asking people to watch the television coverage and send videos to World Sailing, who then can make a video of the crowds reacting to the sailing coverage, which, well, you be the judge. I mean, excuse me. Tell me I'm wrong. If Orlando Montalvan, he's watching, Richard Dreverman watching, croutons by the, Mark Curtis, yeah, croutons by the bagful. No, this is a very silly idea, more so if they do it more than once. Yeah, exactly. Croutonic video. Sorry, David Robinson, hello to you. We wish you were here, although your successor once or twice removed this guy, Russell Smith, what's his name? The manager here. They're doing a nice job, I think. You could turn up your sound a tick or two. Okay, I've done that. Hopefully that's helped. Now, his sheets are awesome. Nice contrast to Luca. Yeah, when we had Luca Devoti on here the other day, his bed. And of course they're in their room. What do you expect? They're just tired. They're back in the room, and we're just grateful that they've come on. I think Emmett's on now, isn't he? Is he up early and on the chat, the comment, along with Mary Jude Szymanski and Philadelphia and Tony Veal and all the rest of you. Claudio Caroli, hello, Claudio. Regardless, I feel for World Sailing, and they produce all those videos prior to the Olympics featuring the different sailors. They were terrific. The one that I showed a minute ago, with images, and what was wrong with that? But okay, enough of that. We should just check in with the U.S. because I'll get criticized if I don't. Here is U.S. sailings just before we went to air earlier this morning, as of Tuesday, July 27th. One bright spot is the Roble Shea team in the 49er FX. 3 of 12 completed, and they're second overall. They've had 2 good scores. As John said, it's the bad score that you have to eat, whether it's a throwout or not. But they've got a 3.214, as you see there, in the 49er FX. Luke Mueller in the Finn, 2 races out of 10 and complete. He's in 7th, so he's okay. He's doing, we'll see how he does, 6th and 11th. Likewise, Charlie Buckingham, who is here from Newport Beach, 6 out of 10, as you heard John Emmett say, the lasers are further down the track, the Ilkas, and he's standing 16th overall in a 5.26.9, but if he can get some more good races and discard that 26. Sadly, Paige Rayleigh in the Radial has, in 6 of 10, she's had 25 and a UFD, so she's not really going to be in the hunt. But we shall see if the guys, and the good news, as you heard from John Emmett, at least good news for me, I am cheering, as you all know, not only for Leonard Takahashi in the 49er. We haven't seen how he's doing. I haven't had time to parse those results. But Robert Scheidt is in the hunt, as I suggested he might be. At age 48, the brilliant Brazilian star, laser, everything sailor. And he is standing 3rd? He's in the hunt. He's up there in the medals positions in the Ilka, in the Ilka 7, in the laser, the standard laser. So this is the, at the moment, the best American hope, with some of the classes not having started. Stephanie Roble and Maggie Shea. And we've featured them on the show before. They looked going into this like maybe they had the best chance. I don't want to jinx anything or say Bravo Zulu or anything, but a good early start, and we'll be cheering for them and following them more closely going forward, as I hope all of you will as well, at least the Americans. Now, a reminder that we will do our live Zoom watch party, assuming there's no weather delays or anything, but right now it looks like they're on schedule, and John Emmett and Luca Devoti and others are keeping me posted. I'm talking back and forth a little bit with Kard, too, and trying to anyway, on the texting. We'll do a live Zoom watch party for the Finn and NACRA medal races. Our San Francisco Tuesday night, it's Tuesday local in Tokyo. That is Monday night in San Francisco. And 2000 may be wrong. Ben Remacher has reminded us that once you get to the medal races only, they could be starting an hour and a half later than that. And we'll take it live using a VPN if we have to get it off of YouTube or wherever they're airing it. We won't take it off NBC because we don't want to get any problems with them. And of course, NBC isn't going to air it live anyway. Probably not. But we will do like we did during the America's Cup. We'll do a watch party on Zoom, our Monday night in New York, early in the morning in Europe, and on your Tuesday mornings in Australia and New Zealand, Tuesday afternoon actually in New Zealand. So our normal Zoom ID 267-220-6570 and the passcode is TFE, Tango Foxtrot Echo, for that Zoom party next Monday night. I get back from here on Sunday. Julia's going to have the studio all set up and ready to go on Monday. Won't you, Julia? Won't you, Julia? And then we'll do a show Monday night, our 10th, 11th show in a week. But the watch parties are fun and easy. Okay, so this is our America's Cup bombshell bombshell show, and this Bravo Zulu now goes out, another one. SailGP released this tape featuring the American SailGP team, and I think this came out this morning. And they're doing what they call foiling fest, and they did it at the Bristol Yacht Club. It looks pretty cool to me. Bravo Zulu.
Just had our inaugural foiling first camp here in Bristol, and man, what a success. I mean, for some of them, you could see they were just jumping out of their skin to get on the boats and to get foiling. And when you see that next generation get their first taste or foiling experience, we can't help but smile, because it takes us back to the first time we felt that feeling of, you know, taking off and literally flying in the water.
Young sailors that have never foiled before, getting up, foiling for the first time, and coming off the water with an absolute, you know, beaming grin on their face. That's what we're here to do as a team. To be able to see it happen, you know, before our eyes is really lucky for us.
We have the Skita and the Nikki, two really cool foiling platforms. We're able to communicate with them over radios attached to their helmets, which is really cool, and we can coach them all the way into their first foiling session ever.
Anybody that passes up an opportunity to work with Foiling First is missing a serious advancement into the future of sailing with about the best foiling coaches you could gather in any country, anywhere. It was an amazing opportunity and something that we couldn't pass up.
Nice work! The race for the future couldn't be clearer when you see young sailors that are being a part of this Foiling First initiative. The types of sailors that we have represent all backgrounds. They represent the slice of America that we want to be tapping into for the future of our sport.
Race for the Future is all about sustainability. We want to look for the next generation of athletes that are hopefully going to make our roster on the US SailGP team, but at the same time we'd like to cast really a wider net. We had Colin come down from Rise and run a small clinic for all of the kids. That was probably the highlight for me coming out of this camp.
What we've seen across the sports community is that oftentimes athletes don't even have the opportunity to discuss, think about their identities outside of their athletic identity, right? And identity is a really good starting point to talk about deeper topics like bias and privilege, right? Because when we think about identity, we better understand who it is that we are, and that allows us to then think about others and recognize why they see themselves in the way that they do.
It's really clear for us that growing our sport in America means including everybody, and figuring out ways that we can do that we can expand access, and coming off the water with a smile, that's a win.
Okay, well, I'm all in favor of that, but I hope we're not doing critical race theory and sailing. I mean, excuse me, leave that to other places. What? Okay, I still think it's a good initiative by SailGP and the U.S. SailGP team, but can we not get into social and racial and other politics in the sport with kids? Excuse me. Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong. You're shaking your head no, like you think I'm right.
No, I think it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. I think, if you disagree, say so in the comments. We'll get you on and go. Sail Go is so woke. Damn, Jeff Ogle is saying. Great initiative, Stingray is saying. I think it's a great initiative, but please, okay, I've said it twice, so I'm going to say it again. Everyone will have a bad, Emmett is on here. He's up early. Everyone will have a bad race. My point is, where was I? Lost Emmett's comment. My point is the overall results after one race is likely to be very, yeah, of course. Good points, of course, from Coach John Emmett. Hey Hutch, here's your future pool of sailors. Well, I'll tell you what, that's a good point, because there are a lot of people who do think, and you wonder about Taylor Canfield, who's just starting to do some. Okay, so he's been moth sailing a little bit now, but you know he's winning regattas in big heavy slow boats at Bermuda Gold Cup and at Congressional Cup. Not exactly the Tom Slingsby or the Nathan Outeridge or some of these other characters who are so good and good at, you know, Goody and some of the others who are just amazingly good now and have been for some time. Okay, I digress. Let's do this day in history, shall we? Now, Denise hasn't seen this. Julia hasn't seen it. Do you know, Denise, what happened on this day in history in 1866? You wouldn't have a clue, right? But you see, I try to get things that are back kind of in the America's Cup time. Here's your first and only clue. And I'll tell you where that is. That's in Newfoundland. It's about the closest piece of rock to Land's End, to Cornwall, to England, if you were to go as the crow flies, or in this case, as the cable lays. As the cable lays. And the landing of the Atlantic cable, this is when it came, and this was the third time they tried this. The first couple times the cable either it broke on when they were laying it out, or once they got it laid out, it didn't work, and you had to put repeaters in these things. It was a tough thing, but let's don't get into all that today. The landing of the Atlantic cable this day in 1866 at Heart's Content. What a great name for a town or an area. Heart's Content, Newfoundland, was the third attempt to establish a telegraph cable across the Atlantic. The first attempt made in 1858, so just 7 years after the America's Cup, AC0, lasted for about a month before it failed. A second try in 1865 also failed, but the third attempt a year later would succeed. Steamship SS Great Eastern, designed by Isambard Kingdom Brunel, there's a name, laid the cable and arrived at Heart's Content, Newfoundland, on the 27th July. The first message across the Atlantic was delivered the next day, and those early messages, when I was looking at this early this morning with a thick head, thanks to Andy Rose, those early messages, just to send a word, took minutes. Finally, they got the thing sped up with some repeaters that were apparently quite cool, and the first official message, I think, or one of the early messages, was from Queen Victoria to the then President of the United States. Oh, there's a transcription of it, but I don't know what she said. She said, "Hey, you croutons, you took the cup." Maybe that's what she said. Okay, that's so much for this day in history, where on this day, the landing of the Atlantic cable, the third one, but the first one really to be successful, telegraph cable, at Heart's Content, Newfoundland, laid out, and it took off from that little town down there. There's a beach, in fact, in Cornwall, out there, Land's End, where all those cables were laid, so to speak, on this day in history, 27 July 1866. Okay, let's get to Gov Cup, because that's why we're here in Newport Beach, the 54th edition of the prestigious International Youth Match Racing Championship, which, along with the Congressional Cup and of course, America's Cup, are the three leading lights in the match racing world. You could put the Bermuda Gold Cup in there as well. Certainly a terrific event, and has been around for a long time in various configurations. But the Gov Cup here, patterned after the Congressional Cup, a couple years after they started Congressional Cup up at Long Beach Yacht Club, kicked off last night with the Meet the Teams dinner. Fantastic evening. 300 club members. We live streamed it. There were a lot of views this morning when I woke up, live and in replay. And we do this. It's hard work, and we're all volunteers. Virtually everyone in this regatta, several hundred volunteers that put this on, from housing to food to race committee to the whole gamut. But we've got 10 teams here. Here are the names. You can go back, put names with faces. I'm going to show you their faces in a minute. But because of COVID, there's nobody here from the normal countries of New Zealand and Australia and the UK. But instead, where we've had teams before from Denmark, France, and Sweden, in fact, we've never had a team from metropolitan France. I think the team that was here a couple of years ago was from New Caledonia, right? They were flying the French flag. So it's a great list, and these kids, there's only one woman, sadly, because most of the teams have gone to crews of 3 this year, because they're, expecting light air. They figured out how to sail the Gov Cup 22s in with teams of 3 instead of 4. But they are bright, they are attractive, they're articulate, they come prepared now, because they know this Meet the Teams thing turns into a bit of a roast by Andy Rose, and it's a wonderful evening. I commend the video that we did last night. It was a 2-camera show, and we had some slides. In fact, we had some input from some of the Cup veterans. I'd gotten videos from them yesterday morning before we went live last night. Matt Whitfield in the UK, and Will Bolden down in Australia. And these it's a life-changing experience. Any of you who've done international sailing will know you get to go to an event, and especially at a young age, you meet kids, And as Matt Whitfield said, you know, I can go anywhere in the world. In fact, I think Will Bolden said similar. I go anywhere in the world now and call up friends or friends of friends that I met at Gov Cup, and I've got a place to stay. I got a club to go have a burger at, or, you know, it's a wonderful experience. Bravo Zulu to Balboa Yacht Club on the continuing success of this event, helped along by a bunch of sponsors. They got 33, I think, plus sponsors. Disc Sports and Spine, Newport Beach, who Dr. Rob Bray, who is the fleet surgeon here at Balboa Yacht Club and a keen yacht racer, along with his wife and a bunch of others, are sponsoring this event and doing it keeps the thing alive, and the costs are low. I mean, it's people like me who come in, and Andy and a whole bunch of others that do. We have this equipment. We've got the club. You know, a club's own race committee equipment. We own broadcast equipment. The club does, or a foundation here that's a combination of the clubs, and that's how we do 9 shows in 6 days, whatever it is. So here are the teams. Let me introduce them. I'm just going to tell you their country and the skipper, who's on the left, thanks to who took these pictures, Mary Longpre, right? So from Denmark, from KDY, from the Royal Danish Yacht Club, Emil Kier. And we had Emil on, you know, we did those 7 Road to the Gov Cup segments on TFE Live over the last, month and a half. And he was one of, the guy on the left there is the skipper, and he was one. And just wonderful, bright people who give you confidence in not only the future of our sport, but in the future of our world. Representing the French Sailing Federation, the FFV, Timothée Paulet from France there on the left with his guys. And they're reputed to be very, very good, so we'll see. In fact, all of these teams, it's kind of a who's because there are new ones, and we don't have the Leonard Takahashi's coming back again, was runner-up, 3 times. You've got some new faces, which sadly it's good news, bad news. It's bad news for the kids that couldn't come from Oz and Kiwiville and from Great Britain, where we've normally had teams. But look at these bright, smiling faces. This was maybe my favorite of the Road to the Gov Cup skippers, Marius Vesterland on the left, who has a great smile, and he had clever comments. He's the one who, when we were doing the show at the end, and normally I turn the tape off and then we say goodbye, thank you very much. But we were still rolling, and I said to him, hey, do you play because he talked about, Andy asked him about the kid from, it wasn't Sweden, it was Denmark, who actually sang at the Road to the Meet the Teams event on the Monday night. And Andy said, well, can you do that? And this kid, Marius Vesterland, said no. And then I said, well, do you play the guitar? And he said, no, but I will by next Monday. It was 10 days ago. And it turns out the kid in the middle, whose name it's on the list, he does play the guitar. And just a wonderful group. And you talk about a wonderful group. This is Annapolis Yacht Club's Porter Cavalier on the left. I know his dad because we did the 86, 87 Cup together down in Frio. He was one of our great sailors on America 2. So Porter Cavalier is skippering for this group. Had a long chat with them about their club and the clubhouses, about T. Hutch, about Gary Jobson. And again, wonderful, bright kids. They're 21, 20. This is one of the local favorites. I'm now on the American teams in alphabetical order by club. This is Balboa Yacht Club's Jeffrey Peterson, whose proud mama is sitting right here next to me, Denise Peterson. And Jeffrey, of course, is a contributor to Sailing Illustrated. He's written articles for the website and been on the show any number of times. Who Denise, remind me the names of the guys with him? Max Brennan in the middle, and Scott Mays there on the right. And they got their tough guy arms folded look, but Jeffrey at least and Max are smiling. Yeah, they were funny last night. And blazers and ties, and they looked like proper gentlemen. David Wood, also from this club, from Balboa Yacht Club, who, along with Jeffrey, they grew up together as both training partners and arch rivals, and it'll be interesting to see. Jeffrey bested David at the Rose Cup, the U.S. National Junior Match Racing Championship a month or so ago at Rochester Yacht Club, and we'll see who comes out on top here today. Do you have results from out there? Do you know how
They're in the middle of Flight 3, and results are up on matchracingresults.com.
Okay, so that's a good tip. Denise says that matchracingresults.com is carrying flight-by-flight results updated. Somebody's out there tweeting for us, for them. racingresults.com, and they're in the third flight. Is Jeffrey undefeated?
So far.
David Wood undefeated?
I think so, yes.
Knock on wood. So that's David Wood also representing the home club, their hometown home club favorites, of course. This kid is a hoot, and his whole team are just wonderful as well. Ansgar, not Ansgar, because it's a German, it's a Deutsch name. His family is German. They speak only German in the home, if you'll recall when he was on the show. Ansgar Jordan, Coronado Yacht Club, which along with Southwestern Yacht Club and, of course, San Diego Yacht Club and one or two others. There's something in the air and the water down there that produces the Malin Burnhams and the Lowell Norths and the Dennis Connors and on and on and on. And here's yet another crop of terrific sailors from San Diego, Coronado Yacht Club. This is the only four-person team, and that's a local team here, Newport Harbor Yacht Club, and another terrific sailor, Morgan Pinckney, and he's got not only four people, but one of them is female, which is nice to see. The Worlds, when we do the Worlds here in 2 weeks, Denise, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Worlds have to have four? Required four people, four-person crews, and one has to be a female. Yeah. So we'll see more of this style crew, and we're actually hosting the Worlds here as well in 2 weeks' time. We take next week off, and then we're back to do it all over again. It's the World Sailing Youth World Match Racing Championship, or Youth World Match Racing Championship. This is Newport Harbor Yacht Club, Morgan Pinckney, who's from a very well-known sailing family, not only here in SoCal, but in the country. Now, this is a team from up in the Bay Area. I know the father quite well, Owen Lahr. Here is the skipper on the left, and they are representing Richmond Yacht Club, one of the younger, fresher teams. We'll see how they do. Probably more on a learning curve, but you never know. Here's another expert team from down in San Diego, Jack Egan, who has been tearing up, college sailing and everything else. I'm glad I have Denise here. She helped me put those lower thirds on and say, hey, just stay here for the show. But terrific guys, Jack Egan and co. from the SDYC. I spoke with my daughter Meg this morning. She's cheering for them, of course. And she also has gotten to know Berkeley Peterson, who is a cousin of what? Jeffrey's. And Berkeley was here last night, as well as her brother. And so nice family connections all around. And an extensive broadcast schedule. Last night was our first of 9, not counting this show, first of 9 live shows. We'll be, again, live every day at 9 a.m. Pacific. We're -7 UTC, as most of you on here will know. Wednesday through Saturday at 0900, we do a morning briefing, a morning show, a pre-race show, call it what you want. And we actually go live when the race officer, the principal race officer, and the umpires, and they do the boat draw, and we cover that live. And then after that, tomorrow I will interview Christine Gribben, who is the chair of the organizing committee, has been doing it for 7 years, and I think she's chair for life, they said last night. One can only hope, because she's wonderful. So we'll have her, and then we'll have interviews with some of the sailors, as we go forward every morning at 0900. Then they dock out about 9:30, 9:40 to go racing. We'll cover that racing on Friday and Saturday, the last 2 days of that racing. At 11:30 a.m. we go live, and then Saturday and Friday and Saturday afternoons we do press conferences, and of course the awards on Saturday, those in the afternoon, late afternoon, and all of that is on fb.com, facebook.com, but they've shortened it now to fb.com. In fact, this show can be found on fb.com/Sailing Illustrated blog, fb.com/BYCGovCup, fb.com/BYCGovCup, and that is our live television schedule this week. And it'll be the same schedule for the Worlds a week hence, the week after next. Okay, that's pretty well wraps it up for us. Julia would be happy because we're only an hour and 10 minutes into the show here. She always thinks, we're going to do this show in quick, aren't we? And I said, well, we'll see. Thank you for joining us for show 441. I do have a couple more things to talk about, and it's really COVID related in this case, and some sad news because it was announced this morning that despite them having put it on last year in the midst at the height of the COVID thing, who knows, maybe we're at the height of COVID now, but the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club have announced that the cup is off the Bermuda Gold Cup is off this year and will return in 2022. The regatta event of the World Match Racing Tour had been planned for the end of September, but will be rescheduled to next year at a date TBA. And we've had James Pleasance on here as executive director of the World Match Racing Tour. James, a good friend and Fozy, and he's been on here any number of times. Hey, look, I just noticed the fire in the fireplace behind us. How quaint. In the middle of the summer in Southern California, we have a fire in the fireplace. It's sad news, though, that the Bermuda Gold Cup is off, and the COVID has really taken a wide swath through the World Match Racing Tour this year, and James Pleasance. We'll get him back on to update us and see what the plans are for the rest of the year and next year once we get through this and the Olympics and whatever New York Yacht Club news we have. The finish line. This is a video, actually, instead of just a shorty, but it could have been by way of Bravo Zulu, but we're looking forward now to the Admiral's Cup, and it looks like the fastest growing class, maybe the coolest class. Well, have a look in the Admiral's Cup coming up. Sunday, the 8th of August, and we'll have Professor Dr. Mr. Andrew McIrvin, I'm sure, commenting on that, and any number of other British sailors, and we shall look forward to the Rolex Fastnet race. Kari Bretschker is here. Kari is going to be when we go live out on the water Friday, Saturday, she will be the Director of Craft Services. I call her, I gave her that title, and she does our food and beverage on the broadcast boat, because we don't, when we go live here, now unlike Congressional Cup, unlike Sail GP, unlike the America's Cup, where the announcers are in a studio someplace on shore, not us. Chris Bretschker and a team of 25 people all get together on Kari Bretschker's and Commodore Peter Bretschker's big, what is that, a 48-foot, 52, no. Denise is just what great, I should have given you a microphone here. We could have, great resource of info, a 52-foot navigator. So it is the International Broadcast Center, and we have cameras and drones and our broadcast position and headsets, and Chris switches the show on a big screen like this up in the upper deck of the boat, and without Kari keeping us victualized, nutrified, fortified, and hydrated, we would be more croutonic than usual. And that will be this Friday and Saturday. I appreciate you, Kari, doing that. Who else is on? A lot of new names on here, too. Yes, mic her up, Jonathan Frank is saying. I'll do that tomorrow. I didn't know Denise was going to be here until just the last few seconds. I should have, and I do think I have a mic. We could have mic'd her up. But she's been giving me great advice throughout the show, reminding me of names that I forget, which is what Julia normally does when I become more croutonic than usual. Daniel Yount, I'll keep looking out for the Olympic sailing streams. Yeah, and again, if we want to do more than just next Monday night, I can't do it before Monday night. There's just no way I can do Sunday night as much as we'd like to do the 49er and the FX. I think that's our Sunday night, Monday afternoon in Japan. But then who's next? Who's the day? I can't remember now. Somebody on here. If Emmett's still on here, he's probably gone out coaching. But we will, if Monday night's a big success, and then maybe in lieu of doing my Tuesday show next week, our Tuesday TFE Live, maybe we'll not do TFE Live and do just a watch party on Tuesday night. But I doubt it. We probably should do this show to keep our momentum here. Kieran Jameson, hello. Worth getting up early for, Jonathan Frank. Gov Cup Olympic. Hey, Kimball Livingston, Commodore Kimball is on here. Nice to see Kimball. Kimball, I had a great chat last night with your good friend, past Commodore of the Newport Harbor Yacht Club, who is the mayor of Newport Beach. Brad Avery, and is a dear friend of Kimball's, he is a lot of people. He's a non-resident member of St. Francis Yacht Club as well. And Brad was in great form. He's over here as the mayor. And it's kind of cool the way you talk about a sailing community here. Newport Harbor, Newport Beach is wonderful anyway, weather and boats and not just Balboa and Newport Harbor Yacht Clubs, but any number of other clubs here around in the area. And it's interesting that the mayor is a stalwart yachty and former Commodore at Balboa at Newport Harbor Yacht Club. And then the harbor master is the current vice Commodore of Balboa Yacht Club, this club, Pablo Blanco. And Paul will be Commodore next year if he plays his cards right when this club is in its 100th year. So that will be fun as well. Kimball Livingston saying, Gov Cup, Olympic sailing, thank God Transpac is wrapped up. Yeah, exactly. Wendy Atterbury is watching. Hello, Wendy. Nice to see you. I hope to see you soon. It's such a shame that youth is wasted on the young. Yes, what a bunch of bright, young, cool kids. Denise is laughing about that one. Mark Curtis, another satisfying TFE live. Well, you said TFE love. That's nice, but I'll have to catch the rest on replay. Well, thank you. Jody Shields, although you were right, so far New Zealand has struggled across most. Yeah, interesting, and John Emmett's confirming this. I wasn't going to say, the Aussies look to be doing pretty well. The Brits are leading in a class or two. Let's have good positions. But it's looking like the Kiwis, Josh Jr., and a couple of the others that we were hoping to see at the top are so far struggling. Anybody else have a comment? Gareth Evans, some of the current cables come ashore near Buda, B-U-D-E, Bude, and others near St. Ives, apparently GCHQ, have a listening station near their. Coincidence, I'm sure. Yeah, right. In Denmark, you address the topic directly with the children. They are the ones creating the future. Yes, Gordon Smith, you're back to talking about, you talk to kids at home and in your churches, and but okay, enough of that. What about the egg cup? What's that? The egg cup, Ted Ryman is asking. How many calls were dropped back then as compared with technology? Oh, yeah, okay, John Frank. They're back talking about the cables. Porter Cavley, any relate? Yes, Bill Wingrove. Porter Cavley is Jim Cavley's son. Jim Cavley, a great sailor. Okay, I think that pretty well wraps it up for us. Denise, anything I've missed? Thank you very much for chiming in here and helping out. And Julia, we miss you very much. I hope you're having a good, here Denise is waving to you and to everybody else. I hope, Julia, you're having a good week up there. Wish you were down here, but it probably is calmer up there at the Beach Street Yacht Club. Julia, if she were here, would say comments are welcome too, even I would say too, even in replay, like, follow, and share, of course. Support us, please, on Patreon. Give us a buck or two, patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. And we will do this again next Monday night. We'll do a watch party, and then we'll do our Tuesday show. That's the plan anyway. And then, of course, we've got all this Gov Cup TV all week starting tomorrow morning at 0900, tomorrow Wednesday here in California. Hope to see you then. In the meantime, sail fast, sail safe, and have bloody good fun. Ciao. Bye.